Friday morning, almost time for the NASCAR this weekend. Rob CWV back with you. Thanks to the guys from FTA, the college kids, 8 and the whole gang. We're welcoming you on board. Second week of this, after the All-Star break, trying to get you prepped for the car racing the rest of the year. Second half of the season, we're now in week 2 past the All-Star race. Week 15 of the regular season, 26 regular season races, and 10 postseason races and playoff 16 guys all the way to the final checkered flag at Phoenix for that one. Last week, Charlotte, longest race of the year. Hope you enjoyed that one. Ford finally got off the schneid. Ryan Blaney had been consistent over the last month, had not been fast. We've been sitting around 11, 12 most that way, and finally cracks through with one. Was fast in qualifying. The Fords were better. We said there'd be a week. It was time to bet Ford. I did not expect it to be Charlotte. They had gotten as cheap as plus 500 a couple weeks ago as a make to win the races. Anyway, Blaney skates through safely. Better day for Ford. Saw some good things out of some guys mid-pack as well. Buscher and the RFK cars from Ford. What's going on this week? Well, first, last week we gave you one matchup. That was a winner. And I hope you liked that one. It was pretty easy when that was the Austin Dillon over Briscoe, who's terrible. He made it close at the end, though. And this is one of his better tracks this week coming up at Gateway. Other thing we gave you Ty Gibbs for a top 10 at $250 or whatever the best price was. You can get on it. That was a 60-1 horse. We gave he's a top 10. He was in the top 10 all day. He had the 8th best average running position. That means he was sitting in the top 10 all day till he got wrecked. He was the first car off the lead lap. Right, scout, wrong result, but that happens. It's sports. These things happen. Luck will get you. Gibbs will probably still win a race before this year is over, and he's been really good at Gateway. The track this week, that's in St. Louis, East St. Louis, Madison, Illinois, out in the country off the South Beltway. 1.25 miles, flat oval. Last year was the first time that ever used it in Cup, even though it's been open nearly 25 years. About 15 years ago, they used to run Xfinity. In recent years, they've run a bunch of truck and a bunch of ARCA. We don't have a lot of laps or a lot of data to look at. Last year, it was a brand new car, the new Gen 7 car for the Cup Series. Joey Logano does what he does, and as he goes, he wins the first race at a new track. Ford was good here last year. Here's the issue. This year, different car. It's Gen 7, but they now split these tracks outside of the drafting tracks, the plate tracks, into 2 different types. Essentially a short track car and what they're now calling the intermediate car, which is what runs the 1.5 miles, but it also runs now here at Gateway. 1.25 miles. A little different. Going to behave differently than last year's short track car, what became the short track car. So what do we know? Well, we only have one race of data, and we may want to throw all of that data away anyway because it's a new car, which makes me lean toward guys who are good right off the truck, who are fast qualifiers, who are great sim racers. And again, that's mostly the young guys. That's the Reddicks, that's the Bells, that's Cindric, who was on the pole here last year. I don't have a ton of fully formed opinions, but we know one thing from last year's race. This is a track position race. If you didn't start in the top 15, you were SOL. You were out of luck. You were going to be irrelevant unless something crazy happened to you on track from a pit strategy perspective. If you got to the front, you led a bunch of laps. There were 5 or 6 good cars. It was Cindric early. Reddick was decent. Kyle Busch had the best car. His brother Kurt was up there. Martin Truex was also really, really, really good. Qualifying's going to mean a lot, and that's on Saturday. And I don't want to do a lot of things pre-flop, because if someone's buried and started 20, they're probably buried. That's not great. Things we like. Not official plays, but guys we like. Put a gun to my head and told us to pick winners, pick an outright. Truex around 10, Bell around 11, and Reddick, who's gotten cheaper. He gets cheaper every week. The books are not trusting him. Down to 16-1 at DK. I like Reddick getting off the truck, but again, not official plays there. Only one official one so far today. That's Truex in a matchup over Harvick. -110 Truex over Harvick. I believe that is at Betfred, but you may find it other places onshore and off. Generally speaking, short Harvick. It's a very short race, 300 miles. Should be right around 3 hours or less. Not expecting any weather this weekend. Harvick's guy who wants longer races, fuel mileage races, adjustment races. It's a short race, and if he's not fast off the truck, which he sure as hell wasn't last year, then he's going to get buried. He's going to sit 15 to 20 all day and probably not be a threat. Other things we like, we would nibble on. We've nibbled on him personally, but don't call these an official play or anything. Bubba Wallace, real binary. Terrible here last year. Won a truck race here about 8 or 9 years ago. he was cheap to open the week. Of all the outrights, he's 4,000, and there's this big jump. Like all the top cars are essentially from 500 Larson, who didn't show much here last year, out to 1,600 Reddick, and that cuts in half. It goes out to Bubba, still as cheap as 4,000. Would nibble on 1,100 top 3. I don't see any good top 10 prices. The only other early play I'm really in love with, I see some top 10s out there that are pretty inexpensive. Keselowski at 140. If you can get that, I think he's a good pick here. Of all the Fords, he's been good. And his teammate Buescher, I normally prefer. Buescher actually didn't run here last year, was injured last season, has never run on this track. We'll throw some darts, some top 10s. Again, these are darts. These are tiny. These are way off the board. But this place gave you a little bit of variance last year. Allmendinger out of nowhere to a top 10. He's 1,100 for a top 10 at Betfred. Todd Gilliland, 1,200 for a top 10. He was great in a truck race here. Michael McDowell sat in the top 10 all day last year in a Ford. He's good with track position. He's plus 1,200 for a top 10. I would nibble on all of those. I would nibble on Eric Jones around the 600 area for a top 10. He was really good last year. Terrible qualifier. One of the fastest guys in practice. This flat track fits him. We'll see how the tire wear goes. Tire wear, a big deal here. They've changed the tire codes. We can't even be predicted with that from last year. It may wear, it may not. We're not going to know until Saturday. Right now it's Friday morning. Tonight, Friday, truck race qualifies this afternoon, so hurry. I'm going to put my face in the fan one more time. Hocevar over Sanchez. You can see it in a matchup around 110. And Matt DiBenedetto over Rajay Caruth. We're going to keep shorting Caruth. Benedetto around 110. At Caesar, we'll see what he does. He was number 6 last year in this race. Better equipment this time. Watch the trucks, watch the Cup, mostly ignore the Xfinity race from Portland. Thanks to the FTA guys and the college kids and everybody. Good morning Friday. It's Gateway NASCAR weekend.